And tonight, yes, because they're both Macs, run by Apple.
That's right.
Which, by the way, Apple has been giving people some issues since the newest update. Have you had issues with the newest OS? I know you have as well.
It was just the Screencast
Screencast
but they fixed it.
There's been Microsoft issues too.
Well, I don't use much of Microsoft.
I don't use it either, but this is what I've heard. Anyway, so tonight is Emoji EDU. This is our topic for this evening. The welcome question says to introduce yourself and say, what is your favorite emoji and why? I know what Ashley's favorite emoji is.
Where do you think she gets that from?
The poop emoji. So I'm guessing that yours, being her father, has the same favorite emoji. Let's see if that is correct.
That is correct.
And why is the poop emoji your favorite emoji?
Because it's hilarious.
Because expand on that, please. Mm-hmm.
It's very versatile. Because you can use it to insult someone, to make someone laugh, or to express, a negative opinion about someone or something. It's just funny just to see just a smiling pile of crap. It's ironic, It's so.
I like the one with sunglasses because it's cool.
Okay.
That's my answer.
Oh man, tired. I woke up like right before 5 this morning. Couldn't go back to sleep.
You did. I left the house earlier than normal.
Yeah.
I left like before 7. Years ago when I first started in public education, I left the house at like 6:30. No, like 6:15 every single day.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Got up, and I had time to kill, so I paired that new Bluetooth speaker to all my devices. So that was productive.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Very productive. So, what are we drinking tonight?
Oh, yeah, good question.
You're drinking a 2014 Ranchita Canyon Cabernet Pfeffer. Like Pfeffer, think of like Price Pfister with a funny name, with a P with a PF. Cab Pfeffer. It's if you like a full-bodied, very dry wine,
overly dry.
Yes, this is going to be your jam here.
This is one of the most dry wines that I've had.
That's one of my favorites. And Ranchita Canyon is out of Paso Robles, and so it's picked up a case of it a few weeks ago when we were down in Paso, among many other cases, because we buy by the case now. Not because we're raging alcoholics, is that we find a better deal, much better deals. You're getting 20 to 30% off. If you can if you get the case and the member discount.
Bailey.
We are being very economical with our wine tasting.
So,
quality wine at a good price.
We have Blake Maskey.
Yep.
I think that's how I say it. The amazing educator from Tulare, as well as Kim Calderon from Fresno, works now in Madera. And they both said that they like the... and actually, so did, who's this person? Lixchel? How do I say that?
Lixchel. She's not using her full name, but she is...
She's from Los Angeles and Central Texas, I guess. I guess she's from a lot of places. Cool.
Which is in the Middle East, so she's very
nice.
Of the world.
I love it. So they all said that the face palm is their favorite emoji. Because it really just conveys all the emotion they want to say. So that's good stuff. We also have we've got a couple people that are stalking the chat as well. Maybe more than a couple. So, all right. So question 1 is going to be dropping in a moment, in less than a minute to be precise. So that will be exciting. All right.
Let's see.
All right. So, it is March.
Yeah, can't believe it's already March.
So, have you started? You haven't started testing yet, have you?
Oh, Wellpack. We've been there for a few weeks.
Yeah. It's interesting to see. Hey, Judy. it's interesting to see as I go to different districts and sites where they're at in regards to testing and how teachers are feeling and things like that. So yeah, LPAC has started for a lot of our teachers, which is our English learner exam that was taken over, that took over CELT, the old one. So there's that, but what I find interesting is there's a lot of teachers in districts I go to that are doing a lot of review for SBAC, and the teachers and the students alike are getting really tired of it because the type of review they're doing is boring. Now, there are certainly some review you can do that's not so boring, but anyway. How about you? What's happening at your site, Adam?
I mean, I haven't seen too much review.
Okay.
Yet. I mean, we're not getting into SBAC until next month.
Are you doing it like April?
Yeah, we're doing it later.
Yeah, I waited till May. I don't like
we're not
so
we're
early.
Not on it. LPAC is our big thing right now because we have so many ELs. So yeah,
it's good.
That's our focus. I'm sure as I walk more classrooms, I'm going to be seeing running into more of that. So not quite there yet.
So yeah, Judy says that they test in May as well. That was always my thing, was the test in May, but there are schools testing in April now that I've been at. I never liked testing that early. So anyway, we've got quite a few people on CV Tech Talk tonight. We also now have Sarah Vandermeiden from Dinuba, as well as Brian Costello from New Jersey. And excuse me. So why don't you talk about answer one that you talked about right there while I look at the next one.
Brian still likes, which emojis is that? I can't even see those. Brian likes, is that a pacifier?
I don't know.
I see a lobster and like an alien. It's like a blue skin. It kind of looks like Gamora, but like blue. Anyways. For me, so question one says emojis can help express emotions of ourselves, characters in literary work, or historical figures. How might we leverage this as a tool in classrooms? Well, for me, simple way is the Emoji Power Paragraph Edu Protocol. Mm-hmm. And I know a certain junk group was watching, so he'll be glad to hear that.
Okay.
So that's a very easy way to kind of have some fun with emojis in your classroom. We have Blake Maskey from Tulare says, having kids write quick response cards to give answers. On index cards, it must include an emoji. Book snaps also leverage emojis.
That's something I just said. Did you read mine?
I did not read yours, but
that's right
off
there.
the top of my head, that's what I would do. That's another thing that I do in addition to the emoji paragraph.
I would also say that emojis, I have found emojis helpful for teachers that are, I teach a technology in the classroom class for students with special needs, or for interns that are getting their special ed credential. And so there was a teacher that works with emotionally disturbed students, an ED class, and she started the day with having them choose an emoji and write about it, because she said that it helps them to build their self-awareness. So it can be used for SEL as well.
Oh, we got Amy Corn from Sydney.
All right.
Joining in tonight. Another way I use emojis, I'm actually probably going to be using it tomorrow. As a quick check-in for understanding, with my Sadai World History class, we're talking about the rise of Joseph Stalin in the Soviet Union. So one of our quick little CFUs we're going to do is with the poop emoji. What makes Joseph Stalin feel like crap? So
like poop.
Like crap. It's more fun to say crap.
Well, you have high school kids.
Yeah, I do. So I can say crap.
You wouldn't say that
So they'll talk about, oh man, if I feel like crap every time the people think what I don't want them to think, or if they escape from the gulag, stuff like that. So it's a fun one to kind of review what they'll be learning tomorrow. Probably take that into Friday as well. Another good review. Brian from New Jersey says, using emojis to tell a story project or create the Bill of Rights. Using Bill of Rights using emoji. That's a good one.
That is.
Oh man, I wish I taught civics where I could teach. Back when I used to teach 8th grade, man, that's big unit on Bill of Rights, man, and I never thought of that. That's a good one there. The Bill of Rights using emojis. I'm going to bring that to our civics teachers. That's awesome. Kim Calderon from Fresno says, responding to text with emoji and then explaining it why you chose that representation. Also use emojis while note-taking and or annotating. So that sounds very Booksnap-esque.
Mm-hmm. We love us some Booksnap.
Our good buddy Les Dienerstein is lurking.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Surprised he didn't make his daily trip to Disneyland.
Yep.
Les is always at Disneyland. And they taking full advantage of that pass.
That's right. Well, you
I
have
don't
to.
think I've seen anybody
prices.
take advantage of the pass as much as Les.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a weekend that goes by where he's not at Disneyland.
So, the next question 2, is going to drop in less than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And it may or may not have something to do with your favorite emoji.
All right. The poop emoji.
We'll see. We have to wait for another,
2
say,
minutes.
30 seconds. No, not 2.
minutes.
No, it's dropping at 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. It should be
Yep.
up at 7:12.
No, 6 minutes each.
Oh, you made it 6 minutes.
That's right. And then the
Changed
very
it.
last one is 7.
You changed it on me.
Well, if you have a problem with change,
You must have been watching that show on Netflix, Hentrified.
you need to adapt. That is
Watching
a
Hentrified
skill.
on
That is
Netflix.
a skill.
Great show.
Here we go. Question 2 is dropped. Can you tell everyone what it
It
is?
says, what instructional practices or educational systems make your students feel like the poop emoji? How might we address this? What systems
good
in
question.
schools make the kids feel like poop?
So that's right. It could be a something that's within the educational system that makes them feel like poop. It could be an instructional practice or strategy that you do or you've seen done. You could even go back in time and think about things that made you feel like that when you were a student. Les Dienerstein joined in here. He says, have you seen Nightmare Before Christmas, speaking of Disney, told by emojis? Emojis can be powerful storytelling. Ooh, personal narrative opportunities. Great idea, Les. Very good. Love it. Also, our friend here from that found us by lurking from Los Angeles and Texas and somewhere
Yep.
said her ELs are familiar with emojis, and every time she uses emoji Uno, her New York adult students go crazy over the poop emoji card.
Okay.
Breaks the ice, gets them to relax and speak more. So that's a good one. I like it. All right. So let's see here. So Adam here says that the data-driven term that turns students into numbers on a spreadsheet can make students feel like poop.
Yeah, so
that can do the same to
the
teachers.
glut of assessments.
Can do the same to
Assessments after
teachers.
assessments. They must find an assessment on assessments so they can have more data. Because we're data-driven. I'm sorry. That's not really what data-driven really means. You've taken it completely the wrong way with data-driven. Now kids are just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're not human children. Because you can manipulate that data to mean whatever you like.
Yep.
And I think assessment, just to have data, is what's driving me crazy with education.
So Blake, similarly, you're talking about data, but talking about district benchmarks. So similarly, that's all about collecting data as well. And I'm not saying that we should not collect evidence of student learning, but there's a big difference between evidence of student learning and numbers.
Yep.
And so a teacher that is continuously monitoring their student learning and collecting evidence of that honestly isn't going to need all of those numbers. A good teacher, I was told when my second year teaching, I was told a good teacher will know exactly how their students will score on the state assessment.
Yeah,
and I thought that's interesting. And so here I was, a second year teacher, first year in a testing grade level. And so I guessed, like, okay, well, I think it's going to be this. And guess what? I was right. I'm like, wow, according to that person, I guess I'm a decent teacher. Yeah. But it's because I knew my kids and I knew what they were doing and I looked at their work all the time. I didn't have to give them a practice test.
There's always this issue, like well, our district benchmark, they score really high, but that's not indicative of how they're going to do on the actual state test. Here's why. We create a lot of times we're the ones who create.
So we know exactly.
You know exactly what's going to be there,
Yeah.
so we can prepare them for it. You can't do that for a lot of your state tests. You have that. You kind of shoot in the dark there.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's definitely there's no real magic bullet to really solve this issue. I mean, but
Agreed.
Assessment for this when it becomes assessment for the sake of assessment, you've lost the plot here. When common formatives become these pretty much, they call them common formatives, but no, there's nothing formative about it because you're not really changing your instruction on the fly. There's nothing really formative about it. They're autopsies. So
Yeah. Agreed. Kim just said that worksheets, even if it's a cute one, like from Teachers Pay Teachers, does not make it better or worth kids' time. We're wasting kids' time, and she says that makes them feel like the poop emoji.
I would even say something like, to a point, things like in-class presentations and academic conversations.
Many times.
Because, we skip all the steps to get them to the point where they can be good at it.
They don't practice.
You want them to do this structured academic conversation where they're having this discourse, blah, 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 looking like they're in college. And we just jump. We want that end product without really building towards it, Same thing with giving, okay, go stand up in the class and give a 10-minute presentation. Kids are freaking out, like they're having serious anxiety about it. Instead of building their capacity slowly to it. I don't think anyone does it on purpose.
No.
They're like, this is something you need to be able to do. Like, of course.
Right.
Some best intentions, but we forget it's a process to get there. I mean, most of us as educators, we have no problem getting, for the most part, getting in front of a group of people and talking. But that didn't happen overnight. So, like, things like, thin slides and other protocols build your capacity. And I think people forget that, not, intentionally.
I would say as well, when you're talking about academic conversations, I was in a classroom, a 4th grade classroom, and school-wide, they've started to really engage kids in starting to do those academic conversations, but they're giving them, specific, scaffolds in how to do that. Like, okay, if you want to ask for clarification, here's a way you can ask it. If you want to disagree with someone, this is how you do that. Like, it's very specific, and I saw these 4th graders using it, and they were using Flipgrid to have these conversations, and so the kids are looking at Flipgrid talking, and they have their conversation card right next to them, and it was perfect.
And also doing a Flipgrid makes it much less scary than being face-to-face with someone.
Correct.
So if they can get a Flipgrid, then now they're a step closer to being face-to-face with somebody.
And if they mess up, they can delete it, do it again.
I tell kids when they screencast and do Flipgrid, I'll never know how many times you messed up because I'm going to see your best work.
Right.
That's that baby step that needs to happen before we get them doing those things. So question 3 just dropped, and it says, educators have indicated students sometimes use emojis in academic writing. How do you teach students to speak and write in an academic register?
Oh, we were just talking we were talking a little bit different about that.
More like writing.
Yeah.
Not quite writing.
Well, speaking though. Speaking as well.
I'm not sure I understand this. Educators have indicated students sometimes use emojis in academic writing. They do?
Yeah. Yeah, if you knew English teachers, they tell you this.
No, I know they use emojis, but are they supposed to?
No.
I tell them
no.
Be.
Correct.
This is like, this is something that they're supposed to do.
Oh, no. I'm saying that they find that, and that's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where a little bit of digital citizenship comes in. Because when I teach students, all right, so when I teach them the basics of Gmail, I harp on the importance of how email is kind of a formal form of communication. Like your grammar, your spelling, it counts. Like your boss, honestly, probably does not care if you can text.
Right.
Okay, if you can DM someone, when you for business, for a job, you communicate through email, and it counts. So if I put that when you explain emojis, which are totally fine with DMs and stuff like that, then emojis they're informal. So teaching kids the difference between formal and informal communication. When you're talking to a professor, when you're communicating with a colleague at work or your boss. So just kind of making it relevant there to what they'll be facing in the real world as they get older.
Yep, pretty much. Blake from Tulare says they focus on sentence frames, purposeful teaching of academic vocabulary, and also correct use of registers. So similar to what you said. Uh-oh. You have a comment for you.
No, his team's losing, so of course he's going to be a little hurt right now. I mean, if I was a Giants fan too, I'd be embarrassed. But it's okay, Mike Rowe. You're one of my favorite Giants fans. You're probably like my 7th or 8th favorite. Your dad's my favorite.
Hey, he grew up in the Bay Area, so
yeah,
you can't hate.
He actually grew up in the Bay Area, so he didn't have a choice. Mike, you didn't. You could have made a better choice, but you know what? I love you anyways, bro.
Oh my goodness, it's funny. Yeah, it's interesting to see. So when I teach first graders to engage in digital conversations in using Google Classroom, the Create Question feature, and so they're talking to each other, it's hilarious because they it's like first through second graders. They have this thing where they get so excited that they'll like yell across the room, "I texted you! I messaged you!" And they all just think it's so like exciting. And so I have to remind them that, we use complete sentences in school. It's not exactly like Roblox, and they love talking about Roblox. So, anyway, it's kind of interesting. But, yeah, it's basically, even the first graders learn, like they start to correct themselves. Oh, remember, Ms. Goya says we have to use a complete sentence, Oh, remember, no emojis. This is school. But, if that's the way they're used to writing, because they're used to playing Roblox and chatting with people, talking to their family, text messaging their family and putting in emojis. We have to teach them, no big deal, we just have to teach them to code switch.
Yeah, one simple way I've been trying to get kids just to think more formally, because for some reason the kids that I teach have this, I hate to say it, they have this inability to capitalize anything properly. When they write anything, even putting their names, it's like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me? So we do a lot of Quizlet and quizzes. So I tell them, if you don't put your first and last name properly capitalized, I'm kicking you out of the game and you lose your participation points.
You're a mean teacher. You
So
made them feel like
that.
poop emoji.
So just kind of train them. Now I'm to the point I've been doing this for a few months now. I really focused on it since January. Now I don't have to threaten them anymore. That they're doing it properly, and if they see someone else mess up, they call them out.
Yeah.
Like, hey, mister, he didn't put his last name. He didn't capitalize it. And they're like, oh, and the kid feels bad. Oh, mister, just kick me out. I'll put it right again.
I'll put it right.
Yeah, it's funny, but something like that kind of is one way you can help train them with the whole emoji thing. So when you're typing something academically, you don't throw the emojis in there. Those simple little ways to train them to get them where you want to go.
So question 4 just dropped. Humor and positive experiences can help lower students' affective filter and build upon relationships. How might you infuse humor and or positive experiences into your classroom environment? Now, this is a tricky one.
There's a lot of sarcasm.
This is a tricky one.
That's humor, right?
Because I used sarcasm even kindergarten, they didn't get it. So I couldn't really do it in kindergarten. But second grade I did. Those kids got it. I don't know that all say, you got to know your class.
Yeah, kindergartens.
But I just...
Kindergartens will cry.
Yeah, they did. They did. I learned, that was my first public school experience, and I was like, wow, these kids don't understand sarcasm. I will stop right now. That became clear real fast. But I just read a book all about trauma-informed instruction, and it was talking about not using sarcasm. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So, I don't know. I don't use it as much as I used to. I think there are other ways to infuse humor into the classroom that do not involve sarcasm. And so I'm trying to kind of look for those ways. You got to really know your kids in order to do that, I think. And or know your community, right? Because it's different in different communities as well. And so I think you have to kind of be careful about that. But anyway, yeah, so we're talking about not just humor, but positive experiences in general. How do you do that to make sure that your students have a good experience? The brain research shows that if you can attach, if when you're learning something, you can attach it to an emotional experience, then you are more likely to remember it. So if you think about when you were a kid, the things that you learned it was probably because you enjoyed the activity, or maybe you hated it and you remember that. Who knows? But that emotional memory helps to cement that learning.
Yeah, I've done a few things. Like what I like to do, I'll put little Easter eggs. Like when I pre-record my lessons, I'll just randomly in the middle of explaining something, say something. Like if we're talking about Catherine the Great, she was looking to seek to get a warm water port for Russia when she ruled Russia, and she got the warm water port because someone peed in the water so they could. And I'll throw these dumb little jokes like that, and I said, all right, when you find the fake news and the little Easter egg jokes, you need to raise your hand so that way I know that you're really paying attention. And usually before they can raise their hand, I hear them cracking up, so I know they found it.
That's cool.
That was one of my favorite ones there. Yeah, the warm water ports is because too many people peed in the water, and that. So
I thought this was interesting. So there was a class clown in a classroom that I was in. And so the student, it's middle school, their jokes aren't very good, right?
No.
And this student says something that was like, kind of like a little disrespectful toward the teacher in the class, or to the teacher, not really the class in general. And what I really loved was that teacher, her reaction was to start laughing and say, you know what? We just had that was really tough work we did right now. We really had to think a lot. Thank you for giving me, giving us all a chance to laugh. Okay, now don't do that again. But, and I thought that was really cool because she honored and valued that student that was trying to diffuse a tense learning moment with humor, but still said kind of not really inappropriate, right? Thanks. That was nice right now. Please don't do it again.
So one of the kind of running jokes now that kind of I gotta be careful because I gotta be careful on the names that I use. But there's a student here because the way I have it set up, I have it set up where I have them chomping at the bit to get feedback. They're always calling me, and I'm running everywhere. My steps are going crazy on my step counter because I'm giving kids feedback left and right, and they're impatient. They want me to come right now, this second. So there's this one student who he wants to get my attention, so he'll call me by one of his old teacher's names that he didn't like, thinking that it would insult me. So then I'll hit him back with the name of one of his old teachers I know he didn't like, a different one, and now it's going back and forth what names we're gonna throw out next. And the kids in the class are just waiting to see how far we're gonna take it, but it's a good it breaks up the monotony definitely. We have Les Dienerstein from Marietta, okay, not too far from the Temecula wine country. He says that I am not the humor teacher, nor do I tell jokes. I am a bit boring. With that said, humor can make things better by letting kids know a joke is a joke and laughing is just fine in the classroom. Mm-hmm. Well said, Les. We're going to see. Les gave us some shout outs today about his
that was nice.
I give him credit on some of his presentations, so
it's pretty cool.
So we'll see Les in Q pretty soon.
That's right. You'll see quite a few people at Q pretty soon.
Kim Calderon says 9 times out of 10 they're laughing at me because I'm very good at modeling failure.
Nice.
Blake Maskey from Tulare says I like to poke fun at myself, establish a relationship with my students where it's okay to fail and laugh. I regularly put up bad examples and laugh, even my own.
I had a student who I'm teaching, doing whatever. She starts with one of my 6th grade students, just starts laughing. She starts laughing, and I'm looking at her, and no one in the class is laughing, and I'm like, Spady, I gotta know, what's so funny? And she's like, you're, I can't see, and I'm like, what? Your hair's too big, it's in the way of the projector. She just thought it was like the funniest thing ever. Like it really wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
But she just, and then the whole class cracks up and I'm like, okay, that's cool. No problem. I'll move my hair. I'll move. It's cool. She's like, maybe your hair, you should make your hair not so frizzy, Miss Goyette. I'm like, okay. I'll work on that.
Yeah,
So, all right. Brian Costello said that humor can help all students, but it has to be authentic. You can't fake humor. Ain't that the truth?
Oh, yeah.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
You know who was good at middle school humor is pretty dorky.
Of course. I taught middle school.
So you taught middle school. You know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Of course, my dad.
Yes.
You teach middle school for 30 some odd years. Like, you better have some real bad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
The kids love it.
Yeah.
So.
Physical comedy works too.
Oh, depending on the grade level.
I've been good at that lately.
Even in high school.
Oh yeah, all right. So I used to take it. It was I'll physically act out some new vocab.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about World War II and kamikaze pilots. All right, here we go. You guys watching? Which vocab word am I doing? And I get a running start, and I just run right into the wall, and I fall down. They're like, and then they got smart. I knew they knew it, but like, we don't get it. So
right,
I did it again.
of course.
I did like 3 times before I realized that they were egging me on to see me do it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
When I taught kindergarten, we had a little, for kinders, they liked voices. So we would be practicing spelling a word, our sight words and stuff, and we had to do it all these crazy voices, and then I get the stupid little puppet out. They love the puppets, and you make the puppet. I really don't think all that's that funny, but the kids would start laughing, and oh my goodness, that was the funniest thing ever.
I like going up to kids and straight up in the hallway. I'm like, "What's up, fool?" And they just sit there. They have no idea what's going on. Or I do it in the class. And I walk in my class. I start greeting you there. So now there's a bunch of kids now who greet me that way, and it's definitely breaks the ice.
Right.
Or I don't know. There was this group of 2 girls that I had a couple years ago when the word ratchet was a thing.
Oh, I don't even know.
And also
I missed that one.
They thought they were funny. Oh, you're such a ratchet teacher. You're ratchet.
What'd that even mean?
Like ghetto, pretty much like ghetto, pretty much.
Really?
You're just ghetto. You're ratchet.
Really?
You're cheap. And I'm like,
I never heard it.
I go, I had a good enough relationship where I could do this, and now it's like, one day I was like, I'm not as ratchet as your face. And now it's a thing now. Like, they're seniors now.
Yeah, they
Like,
still
they're
remember.
Like, oh, you're ratchet. I'm like, your face is ratchet. And now, we just walk away laughing. And it's a thing. But you got to have that relationship. You can't. Just
Yeah.
You can't pull a ratchet. Your face is ratchet joke with every kid. But,
No.
It's it speaks to the power of relationships. You
Yeah.
you can have that relationship with kids, then you're gonna get some. But be careful.
You have to be careful too with humor, because when you have students who are on the spectrum,
Yeah.
Students with Asperger's don't, things are very literal for them. A lot of times they won't catch your humor. Or like I said, when I taught kindergarten and they didn't understand sarcasm, so I had to stop using it very early. I mean, I learned the first week. So you do have to be really careful and make sure that you know your students.
I'm to the point now, where I've been teaching that district so long that I've had full classes where there wasn't one kid who didn't have a nickname. Everyone brought in there has some kind of nickname. So if during graduation, when they start counting out all the different programs and sports and stuff kids have been participating in. So if you were on the soccer team, stand up. If you were in AVID or CSF, stand up. Honestly, they could do every graduating class. If Worcester Waters gave you a nickname, please stand up. And half the graduating class probably would stand up. But it's fun. It's one of the joys of teaching is using humor and having that relationship with kids. That's the takeaway from it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways, it's been a robust chat.
It has.
And we will see you guys next week.
All right.
Peace out.